Last week we took a gander at one potential scenario that could come to pass during the 2019 NFL Draft for the Dallas Cowboys. It involved trades, and we explored the idea that trading back is probably the best course of action for the Dallas Cowboys unless there is a player that they love that is sitting there at 58. With so much depth in this draft at positions where the Dallas Cowboys could use some reinforcements, it makes sense for them to look to add to their cache of draft picks. Sitting with 6 picks and no first-rounder gives them little leeway unless someone wants to trade up into pick 58. Using Fanspeak.com's on-the-clock premium simulator, I selected Matt Miller's big board from Bleacher Report while allowing the computer to use multiple big boards to better simulate the variations that can take place from team to team. Today, we're going to look at another mock draft scenario that involves 2 trade downs from the Dallas Cowboys. 58 trade. The New York Jets called Jerry Jones in the Dallas Cowboys war room and offer pick 68 and 93 for the Cowboys pick in the second round. Sure, it's a 10-pick trade back, but the value they're offering is too good to pass up. Per the trade value chart, Dallas earns a net of 76 points, which would be the equivalent of pick 109. This draft is deep at defensive line, safety, and wide receiver, so with options on the board that I really like, I'm moving back and picking up an extra third-rounder in the process. New York Jets get pick 58. Dallas Cowboys get pick 68 and 93, 2 third-round picks. 68 trade. Sensing that Jerry is in the wheeling and dealing mood, the Washington Redskins come calling and offer pick 76 and 96 for the Cowboys pick, acquired from the New York Jets, at 68. Again, the Cowboys pick up a net value of 76 points here, and there are still several players on the board well-liked by the team. Washington Redskins get pick 68. Dallas Cowboys get pick 76 and 96, 2 third-round picks. Through the 2 trade backs that the Cowboys accepted, the Cowboys now have 4 third-round picks to work with. 76 Gerald Willis 3, DL, Miami via trade with the Washington Redskins. This year's edition of the NFL Draft features a really deep class of defensive linemen. The Dallas Cowboys, though they've shored up their defensive interior with the signings of Christian Covington and Kerry Hyder, who can play on the edge or inside, the Cowboys will still look for long-term answers at the 3-tech position on the defensive line. Maliek Collins likely pencils in as the starter heading into 2019 at the 3-tech spot, but is only under contract through the 2019 season and has struggled with consistency while battling off-season injuries that have limited his preparation. Gerald Willis 3 is a player that profiles as a 3-tech with his athleticism and strength. He had 4 sacks and 18 tackles for loss for the Miami Hurricanes. He's a raw player that only played 1 full season at Division I, but under the wings of defensive line guru Rod Marinelli, could be the solution to the Cowboys' interior pass rush. Read Kevin Brady's scouting report on Gerald Willis 3. 90 Darnell Savage Jr. Maryland. The Dallas Cowboys have yet to truly address the safety position in free agency despite having visits with Clayton Geathers and Eric Berry. Darnell Savage is a very interesting player that reminds me a lot of Xavier Woods. Like Woods, Savage is a versatile player who is physical and aggressive in run support and plays coverage very well. If there's something he lacks, it's size, standing only 5'10" and weighing in at 198. He plays the ball well in the air and is an aggressive downhill tackler. He'd match well with Woods in that you could keep the offense off balance with your safety looks. Savage has the speed, athleticism, toughness, and range to be a plug-and-play safety in the box or as the deep safety for the Dallas Cowboys. Read my full scouting report on Darnell Savage Jr. 93 Andy Isabella, WR, UMass via trade with the New York Jets. Though the Dallas Cowboys have brought back wide receivers Allen Hurns and Tavon Austin along with signing Randall Cobb, none of those 3 players has a contract behind 2019. The Cowboys would be wise to continue to look at the NFL Draft to add talent to their wide receiver pool. Andy Isabella has elite production, speed, and athleticism to be an excellent slot receiver in the NFL. Read Brian Martin's scouting report on Andy Isabella. 96 Bobby Evans, OT, Oklahoma via trade with the Washington Redskins. The Dallas Cowboys' offensive line looks set for 2019 with the expected return of Travis Frederick, a full off-season of strength and conditioning for Connor Williams, the return of Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, and La'el Collins, and excellent depth with Joe Looney, Cam Fleming, and Xavier Su'a-Filo. The problem is that the Cowboys will probably let Collins walk in free agency next off-season and will look to replace him through the draft. Collins will likely demand a big payday as a right tackle who will have started 3 seasons at the position for one of the league's best running games. Enter Bobby Evans from the University of Oklahoma, who was a member of one of the best offensive lines in college football. The Sooners' offensive line provided quarterback Kyler Murray with tons of time to drop back to pass and gave huge running lanes to running backs Trey Sermon and Kennedy Brooks. Evans has good athleticism, strength, and arm length that could allow him to play either side of the offensive line. He would start out as a backup and potential swing tackle, but with development could be your replacement for La'el Collins at right tackle. 128 Rodney Anderson, RB, Oklahoma. If you read this space on a regular basis, you know that I'm all about Rodney Anderson in the 4th round for the Dallas Cowboys. If he's available, the Cowboys have to think long and hard about selecting him. Yes, he's had some injury issues during his career at OU, but he's a potential bell cow running back if something were to happen to Ezekiel Elliott. He's a smooth runner who is able to change direction quickly and has the physicality to run inside. He runs with patience and can make defenders miss while possessing enough speed to break away from the defense. If the Dallas Cowboys are serious about extending Ezekiel Elliott, and it appears they are, they need to find a guy who can ease some of the burden that Elliott's carried through his first 3 seasons in the NFL. Elliott's a great back, but even the great ones need to be spelled from time to time. Read Brian Martin's scouting report on Rodney Anderson. 136 Jay Sternberger, Texas A. Prior to the return of Jason Witten, the Cowboys were looking like a team that would seriously attack the tight end position in the draft. With Witten's return, the Cowboys could look to go into the season as is, hoping that Blake Jarwin and or Dalton Schultz take a step forward in their development, making any snaps from Jason Witten icing on the cake. But that's hedging your bets a little. As much of a believer as I am in Blake Jarwin, hope is not a plan. If for some reason he's not the player you thought he'd be, then you need to grab one of the tight ends from this deep group of players. Jay Sternberger is the guy that I like the best after the 3rd round trio of Noah Fant, T.J. Hawkinson, and Irv Smith. Sternberger offers a ton of athleticism and is a downfield threat that the Cowboys haven't had in years from the tight end position. 165 Colin Saunders, DL, Western Illinois. I mentioned earlier, though the Dallas Cowboys have addressed the defensive interior, but need to take into account that they won't have several of those guys after the 2019 season. Colin Saunders could be a nice fit in the one-tech defensive tackle rotation despite being short relative to the position. His size, strength, and athleticism remind me of 24th from last year's draft who dropped down draft boards because of his height. Ford had a very productive rookie season for the Seattle Seahawks in 2018. Don't make the same mistake on Saunders. 241 Jordan Brailford, edge, Oklahoma State. When you're looking at the 7th round of the draft, you're trying to find those diamonds in the rough. Jordan Brailford from Oklahoma State may just be that guy this season. Brailford is a player that profiles as a weak-side defensive end and a 4-3 or a 3-4 outside linebacker. For Oklahoma State, he had 10 sacks in 2018, though he tailed off toward the end of the season. All 10 of his sacks came in his first 8 games of the season, but he recorded 3 sack games against Boise State and Kansas. In addition to his 10 sacks, he recorded 17 tackles for loss and 55 total tackles. He's a plus athlete that could contribute on special teams and provide depth on the edge. Both of those things are worth taking a chance on in the 7th round. We are now only a little more than a month away from the 2019 NFL Draft, and you know the Dallas Cowboys will find some players to add to their roster for this season. They've become one of the better teams in the league at drafting. Not only do they hit on their first-rounders, Taco Charlton, TBD, they've found starters and valuable depth pieces throughout the draft. This is just another scenario that could take place come draft weekend.